In the pen behind me are the last of our suckler calves from 2024 to be weaned. So a lot of our calves would have been weaned in autumn, and these are kind of the latest calves to be born, so the youngest, and they've stayed on their mothers until really this weekend. And when they're weaned, they no longer will have access to their mothers, so they won't be getting any milk. But at this point in their lives, really their reliance on their mother's milk should be pretty minimal. I've been feeding them some meal, they're eating plenty of good silage. Honestly, they were weaned on Saturday, and there's no roaring, there's no stress. You know, they're teenagers, they're late teens moving out of the house is what it is. They're not one bit worried because they're getting so little from their mothers now anyway. This was an area that they had access to, so they're very familiar with. They were lying here by themselves, and their mothers are on the far side of the shed. So the mothers are more upset than the calves are. And back there's a little gate that they could slip through, but the mothers couldn't. But now that gate's been closed, they have no access back to their mums, and they don't seem all that terribly worried. They've got nice straw bedding, they're pretty happy, they're nice and clean. Our calves would usually be weaned a little bit earlier than January, but traditionally we would have been calving really up until the start of May at the very, very latest. Really, ideally, all of our calves have been born by April, but our issues in the last few years with TB have meant that we've had to really keep cows on that would have fallen out of the system under normal circumstances. It's not the most efficient way of doing things, but when you're a severely infected herd and you're not allowed to buy replacements, you really can't afford to be culling healthy cows, even if their fertility has dropped a little bit. So it does mean that we're kind of a spring and summer calving herd now, as opposed to just a spring block calving herd. At the price of straw, I wish I had more slots for them, but I don't. I opened this up and pulled out this tin to try and improve the ventilation in here, and it has made an awful lot of difference. The biggest problem I have with this shed is ventilation. If it's a really cold day, the condensation in that roof is nothing ordinary, and it makes it so hard to keep those cattle clean, especially the big cows on the far side. I scraped that out yesterday. You wouldn't believe it was scraped yesterday. Oh shush! They're making liars out of me. I opened up the roof a wee bit and I pulled down the tin. I took a sheet of tin off. I took a sheet of tin off here. Opened all this up, and if you look here, I've created a gap along the top of the wall so that air can come up through the tin but not directly down to cause a draft on the calves. It's made a massive difference. I'm going to leave the shed. I've got them all upset now. They've started shouting.